Alright, so I would love it if you would help me settle this debate, but I did my eye makeup today and I asked my husband what he thought about my green makeup look, or my green eyes, and he said, no, that's blue on your eyes. And I was like, no, I used a green. He's like, oh no, that's definitely blue. So let me know, what do you guys think? Do you see green, like a dark hunter green, or really dark blue? My husband sees blue, I see green. Settle the debate for us. But hello and welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. Levi is down here, so he's going to be making a little background noise. But if you're new around here, hello and welcome. My name is Katie Marie, and I am a lover of eyeshadow palettes, hence why you guys clicked on the video, because we're going to be talking about eyeshadow palettes in this video, and that is what I love to talk about. And I am a mom of 3 kids, and today I have my youngest down here on the floor playing with all of my boxes of eyelashes. So we know we're going to have some destroyed boxes after this, but that's okay. He's happy. I can record. It's all good. So yeah, as I said, today we're going to be doing the eyeshadow wardrobe tag. I believe that's what it's called. I am blanking a little bit on who created it, so I'll go ahead and put their pictures here so I don't mess it up. But these are the creators of the tag, and they came up with a really fun eyeshadow palette tag talking about like events or occasions that you may have in your life and what palette you would think first to wear to those occasions, like wedding, etc, etc, etc. And that's kind of like your wardrobe, and I thought that was so much fun. I'm always down to talking about eyeshadow palettes, so I really wanted to do this tag, and I'm going to be doing it today with another friend of mine here on YouTube, Heather Austin. If you guys are new to her, I'm so very excited to be able to introduce you to her. If you like what I kind of put out here when it comes to eyeshadow palettes and the colors that I like and whatnot, she is also an eyeshadow palette lover, and she also loves green eyeshadows, which you guys know I like. So we have a lot of similarities, and I want to say just a couple months ago, I actually started watching her channel. She was one of those names that I know I've always heard for so long around the beauty sphere of like her channel and whatnot, but I never checked her out for some reason. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers out there, and I know I'm missing so many great ones, and she's definitely one of those YouTubers that I just kept missing until finally I was like, you know, I keep seeing that name Heather Austin, and I went over to check out her channel, fell instantly in love, and I have been watching her ever since. And we were talking back and forth, and I was like, hey, do you want to do a collab video? And so we decided to do this one together. I definitely highly recommend you go check out her channel. I've really been enjoying it, and I just think you will absolutely love her. She is an absolutely beautiful, flawless woman, and as I said, she loves green eyeshadows, she loves eyeshadow palettes, so pretty much every video she puts out, I am so excited to click and watch, because she just has a really sweet personality. She loves to play with makeup. She can get really creative and fun with it. She can go more soft and easygoing, so if you don't always like my dramatic looks, definitely someone to check out. But yeah, Heather, thank you so much for doing this video with me today. I am so excited, and if you're coming over from Heather's channel, hello and welcome. I'm a bit of a mess over here. Sometimes I have my kids as little cameos because, you know, life just always doesn't, you know, line up to have mommy time being solely by herself when I need to film. So sometimes my youngest likes to join. But if you enjoy eyeshadow palettes, if you like green eyeshadow palettes, if you like to talk about all things fun when it comes to your eyes and the colors you can put on your eyes, you may like it around here. But yeah, with all that said, why don't I have Levi help me do my Instagram shout out for today? Alright, and Levi said that we should pick Polish Galore as my Instagram shout out for today. Let me swing him over here so we can put Polish Galore over here. Polish Galore is going to be my Instagram shout out for today. Thank you so much for interacting with my most recent content. But anyway, thank you so much for interacting with my content. And per usual, if you want a chance to be featured at the beginning of my videos for my Instagram shout outs, all you have to be doing is following me on Instagram. I'm LadyKatie92. Interact with my content as it goes up, and I randomly select someone when I sit down to film. So now I'm going to see if I can get him happy on the floor with a toy, and then we can jump right into the wardrobe tag, or the eyeshadow palette wardrobe tag, I think is what it's called. Okay, and for these questions, they're more like prompts in that, like, you need to pick a palette you would use for, and then they give you a prompt. And the first one's going to be wedding guest. So as a wedding guest, what palette is the first one to come to my mind that's something I would reach for and use? And this one was really hard for me, and I should kind of put a caveat on all of the palettes that I'm going to be choosing. I am someone who tends to, whatever I am testing for that month, I tend to just work it into whatever I'm going to go to. So honestly, if I was to be gonna go to a wedding, I would kind of look at the palettes that I'm currently testing and see if I can get a more toned down or a more wedding appropriate look, and then I would just go with that. But for the sake of this tag video, I'm going to try to think of a palette in my collection, not necessarily one I'm testing, in order to answer this question. But I did want to throw that out there. But anyway, in the spirit of this video, I decided to pick the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette specifically because I feel like the mattes in here are very neutral and safe. And for me, for a wedding, I won't want to go too loud when it comes to my crease. However, I still want to go really fun, and I feel like the foils in here, there's a couple of colorful ones if I was feeling bold, but overall they're more neutral and warm toned, but the foils are just so pretty and so sparkly. They can really give you that just oomph to any makeup look, and I feel like it's very wedding appropriate without kind of like trying to steal the show or just be way too loud. if that makes sense. Again, maybe I would wear a very colorful eye look to a wedding. I really don't know. It's been so long since I've been to a wedding, but I feel like when I'm thinking about the type of eye looks that I like to wear to a wedding, I like to go very neutral, warm, smoky, I would say, in my crease when it comes to the mattes, and then just something really shiny and bright and beautiful and, you know, sparkly on my lid. And these shimmers, these metallics, when it comes to this Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette, it's definitely hands down my favorite palette that Too Faced has ever released. Like, the formula is just so spot on. These metallics are really just so intense. When I think of like metallics from more mainstream, this is definitely one of the top ones that I can think of off the top of my head that, depending, you definitely have to use them wet, but if you use them wet and you put them on your eyes, they can just look so wet and foiled. From what I remember, it's been like 2 years since I've used this. I got this when Gideon was born. But anyway, from what I remember, they can just look so intense and beautiful. I remember this one. I want to say this is getting a little, because it feels a little more dry than I remember, but like, look at that. So beautiful. And then you wet it. Absolutely stunning. So yeah, this is definitely a palette I could see me wearing because it's not too crazy, it's not too bold. You know, there's nothing too bright and crazy that you can put matte-wise in your crease, so you can stay real safe with the crease, and then just put something on your lid to really pop and make it stand out and make it very wedding appropriate in my opinion. And but I love smelling this palette because it smells like chocolate. But yeah, for the first prompt, had to pick the chocolate gold palette from Too Faced. Okay, next prompt is date night, and this one was really easy for me because my husband is someone who prefers more neutral looks, or not neutral, but more natural, I guess. He's not into the bright colors, so this whole journey that I've been on with the bright colors, not that he hates it, but it's not his favorite thing. So if I was gonna go on a date night, I would definitely keep that in mind and go a little bit more neutral and more grungy. He definitely likes the smoked out corners. He likes the more blown out and deep colors, but still staying neutral. So I would pick the Menagerie Cosmetics Killer Purr palette. I feel like this one is just so perfect when I'm thinking about a date night with my husband because it's very neutral, but I can get super smoked out, super sultry. I can still get the tones that I like, the grungy tones that I like, but I can brighten it up on the lid with just a simple shimmer or a matte, very bright color still, and, you know, do an all matte look. That would feel very, very, you know, just womanly and wifey in, I guess you could say. It'd just be a very pretty date night look. I think the first look that I ever did with this palette, I have it on my channel live, but I just enjoyed it so much. I thought it was so beautiful, and I could see me doing that exact look to go on a date night with my husband, and I would love it. He would love the tones. It would just be the perfect little eye look. So yeah, when I'm thinking about date night, a little more neutral, but still really smoked out and beautiful, and this is a palette that I could get, and I could even, you know, kind of go with the greens, which I like, or maybe do a little bit, if I'm feeling bold, a little bit of pop of color on the lower lash line. And overall, I just feel like this is a palette that I would think of first when I'm thinking of, ooh, he wants to take me on a date night, if we ever do that again. So yeah, when I'm thinking about a date night look, the Killer Purr palette is definitely the first one that came to mind because I feel like it's just, I love this palette so much, and I feel like it's a palette that any look that I did, my husband would really enjoy as well, which I feel like is really appropriate and the perfect thing, the perfect harmony when it comes to a date night, something I enjoy and something he'll enjoy. Levi agrees. Third prompt is girls' night. Now, girls' night, I was really trying to think of like what I would want to wear, and I thought more colorful because I feel like if there's any time for me to just like go all out with color and feel very comfortable and not like I'm sticking out, I feel like it'd be girls' night. Because I mean, girls' night is when I feel like when you go and get together with a bunch of girls, you can talk about makeup and stuff like that, so you can have a really fun eye look and just be able to talk about it and talk about, you know, eyeshadow palettes and makeup preferences and what we like to wear, what products we use. So I thought of like bold and bright because I feel like I'd be very comfortable going to girls' night with an all like neon is what I was thinking. Yeah, you too. And I thought of the Poppy Cosmetics Neon Drip palette. This palette is just so very pretty. I really enjoyed all the looks that I got out of it, but it's definitely a very bright and bold eyeshadow look. So I feel like this palette right here would be the first one that I think about if I wanted to go very bright, fun, and just bold and in your face with an eye look going to a girls' night. This would be a palette I would think of, and I would really enjoy the looks that I got with it. I really like the quality. I have a 3 looks one palette. I've reviewed this on my channel before, but just talking about the looks that I get, I really enjoyed all the looks. I had so much fun, and I could see me creating a really fun, vibrant, bold, neon look and going to a girls' night and just having fun talking about the palette, talking about what I use, talking about, you know, what everyone's favorite colors is to wear on their eyes and whatnot. Just having a little makeup girls chat night, and they can get a conversation started. And anytime I wore this when I was testing it out, people would always comment on it because, like I said, they're just so bright and vibrant. Prompt number 4, vacation. The palette that I would want to wear if I went on vacation. Now, again, I feel like with all of these, I just wear whatever I'm currently testing, whatever I currently have in my stash that I'm wanting to wear. I'd be like, oh, I'll get a look out of this. I'm not really someone who themes my makeup very much. So this one was really hard because I was like, what would I take on vacation? Whatever palette I'm testing at the moment. But for the sake of this, I was thinking, okay, vacation, if we went somewhere, like, I don't know, went to the beach or went somewhere in the summer, I was thinking summer makeup. And one of the palettes that I definitely thought of off the top of my head when I'm thinking summer makeup is the Give Me Glow Extra Spicy palette, because this palette, I loved all the looks that I got with it. When I think of like summer, I think of those reds, oranges, and yellows. I just feel like it's such a fun, vibrant look. It's very sunshiny and beautiful, and that is definitely something with this, that all the looks that I created just made me think of sunshine and summer and happiness and like beachy vibes, I guess you could say. I could see me doing a look and going to the beach and just feeling very like on theme. I don't know, for whatever reason, when I read that prompt vacation, I thought of summer and the beach. And I thought of this palette, so hence why I picked this palette, and I also love this palette. So that was another reason I was like, oh yes, I love this palette so much, I want to mention it in this video. And so I thought this fit so very appropriately for me when I'm thinking of a summer vacation. I thought of this palette. Okay, prompt number 5, graduation. This one, again, graduation. I don't know, that's just very tricky for me, but I thought of the Menagerie Cosmetics Whale Song palette because I feel like when I think of this palette, it's very much my tones. I really enjoy it, but it's also can be very muted. Like the looks that you can do, you could keep a very muted, still colorful and grungy blue and green, but they're more muted tones, so I feel like that's more graduation appropriate, I guess. I don't know, like I said, I feel like I would wear just about anything. Maybe not the bold, bright neon, but I'd wear just about anything if it kind of went with my outfit. That's another thing, that for all of these things, I tend to theme my makeup around the outfit that I'm wearing for the day, so I feel like it just depends on what I'm wearing. But if I'm going to pick one palette, I feel like this is a palette that I feel like is very me. I'm very comfortable in these tones, especially like the more greeny neutral side up here. But still, this is a palette that I feel like I could get a look with that I'd be very comfortable with, and that would be very me. And yeah, that's basically the only reason I picked this, because I feel like the tones that I could get would be very grungy and me, a little bit more neutral, a little bit more undertoned or understated up here, and more safe and more appropriate for graduation. But again, that's the only reason I picked it. I don't know. This one was really hard because I was like, graduation? I don't know, I'd wear just about anything to a graduation. The next prompt is Christmas Day. Again, this is another one that I don't know, I just wear whatever I'm currently have to try in my pile. But when I was thinking about Christmas Day, I was thinking about winter, and one of the palettes that I always think about and like comes to the top of my mind when I'm thinking winter is the Eyes Cosmetics Smoky Glow. I know this is more like Valentine's, but a lot of the looks that I got with it, I was just thinking, ooh, that just like makes me think of winter, like Christmassy. So that's why I picked it. Literally the only reason. I've been thinking about, as we approach maybe in December sometime, doing like my winter palette collection, kind of like I just did my fall palettes that I have in my collection, maybe doing all the palettes that I think kind of symbolize and make me think of winter. Would you guys at all be interested in that? Definitely let me know that down below. But this is definitely one of the palettes that I would feature, because I remember doing so many looks and I just thought of the winter time. I just thought of like, ooh, just, you know, having a jacket on and being all snuggly cozy with it. And maybe it was the fact that I could get so smoky with this palette that made me think of winter, but I don't know, something about this palette made me think of winter, so that's why I was like, hey, winter, Christmas. This could be a palette I could totally wear for Christmas, and also too when we're talking about Christmas. All right, he is now in my lap. But also when I'm thinking about Christmas, I think of it very like sparkly when it comes to the eyeshadows and like what I would wear. And for sure, Dofa and Nutty, I feel like either one of those, I could put both of them on my lid and I just would feel so very sparkly and beautiful and very Christmas appropriate. So that's why I picked the Smoky Glow palette as my Christmas palette. Okay, next is Birthday Party. This one, again, I feel like any palette in my collection I could do for, yeah, I could put here. Because if we're talking about my birthday party, I feel like any palette that I own. But I was thinking, you know, I was thinking kind of along the lines of my birthday party, but I decided to go with the palette I actually have on my eyes today and I'm currently testing, because it is the Worldy palette. Sorry to blind you. But this palette here from P. Louise. I thought of this because I've really been loving, when it comes to the color story, the amount of like me looks I can get from this, because I can go super bright and bold with this and I feel like it's still very me, because it's the greens, it's the more, you know, autumny tones, the blues and whatnot, and I can go very bright and bold, or I can stick to the more grungy, not neutral, but like toned down and deeper looks, and I can get a very neutral look, but it's still very me. So yeah, honestly, that's the biggest reason why I picked this palette, which is very hard to hold up when I'm also holding my son, but this color story is very me, and I just love the mix of very vibrant, bright colors, and also very deep, more neutral, softer colors that I can find in this one palette, and all of the colors, all of the, you know, the color story itself is still very me. So I love that mix of bright and neutral, but still all of the bright and neutral colors are my type of colors. So that's why I picked the P. Louise Worldy palette that is so very heavy, I just don't want to hold it up any longer. All right, next is office. Now, I should have said this in the beginning, but I actually don't work. I'm a stay-at-home mommy right now. I've never really worked in a professional field, so I feel like I'm very ill-equipped to do this question, but I'm going to answer it to the best of my abilities. And thinking about if I did work on an office, what's a palette I would turn to that would still be very me, but still be a little more professional, not so, you know, bold and vibrant. And I feel like the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette would be one that I could use pretty much every day. And I could stick to this top half here, and I feel like get a very neutral, very subdued and professional look. But I could also maybe mix in a little of the greens, and the greens themselves are still very neutral, I think, and more understated, but not too crazy. And like I said, still stay me, because I love the grungy green tones in here. I love the very warm, you know, browns up here too. So the mix of this palette itself is just a perfect me type of neutral palette. And while it's still really colorful for me, it's my type of tones, but it's still, I feel like, safe. Let me know if I'm totally missing the mark here. If you're someone who works in an office and you look at this and be like, yeah, you wouldn't be able to wear that palette at all. Feel free to let me know, but like I said, I've never worked in an office and never worked outside the home, so I really don't know how to answer this question. So to the best of my abilities, I feel like the Melt Gemini palette is one I could wear day in and day out at an office, mix it up, still stay really neutral, but still stay me and colors that I enjoy, and it'd be office appropriate. Okay, we are almost done. Levi is done, but we are almost done. He's playing on the floor here again. Next prompt is Errands Everyday Go-To. I had to go with my Juvia's Place, the Tribe palette. I love this palette so much, and I love the mix of very neutral colors but very bright greens. This is just such a perfect mix for me. Anytime I reach for this palette, I just not only love looking at the color story and think it's just so very unique of a color story because it has those fun greens in it, but also has the neutrals. So you could do a look like with these three, and I feel like you'd never think it came from this palette. I just love that mix. So when we're thinking like everyday go-to, or if I had to go with errands around town, I would think of this palette and reach for this palette a lot. Again, I'm someone who tends to just wear whatever I'm wearing, and if I go do errands that day, great. But for the sake of this video, this is a palette that I could definitely see myself picking if I was wanting to do errands and whatnot. I can mix a little bit of bright and bold with some more of the neutrals and feel very safe and whatnot. And yeah, I love this palette so much. I did a couple looks with it and I was gonna do a video, but it's actually being discontinued, and it like is discontinued. I don't even know if you can get it anymore. Do you guys still want to see it? I feel a little bad putting up a video where you can't get the palette anymore, but I love this palette so much I wanted to do a 3 looks 1 palette on my channel, and I just happened to wait until it's no longer available. So let me know if you guys would still want to see it, and maybe I'll put that up as just kind of like a little bonus video, farewell to the Tribe palette type of video. Okay, and very last prompt, as the floor around me is littered in toys and makeup, is New Year's. And for New Year's, I definitely, the first palette that came to mind is the Dose of Colors Francation palette, because while I wasn't the biggest fan of this, like I thought this palette was okay, but there's no denying that Dose of Colors, it does their shimmer metallic formula very, very special, because not only is it very beautiful, very intense, very creamy, very opaque, but they put so much like glitter reflect that doesn't matter what light you're in, doesn't matter if you're moving or not moving, it still is like glittery and glowing and just beautiful. You know those Instagram filters where, you know, it goes over the whole thing and it has like little sparkles everywhere? That's like every single one of these shimmers here. When you put it on your lid, doesn't matter if you're moving or not, there's just like little sparkles going on, and I feel like that's so New Year's Eve appropriate. There's not a whole lot going for me personally when it comes to the neutrals, or not the neutrals, the mattes in here, but for this palette, for me, it's all about the shimmers. And I feel like when you're talking about New Year's, you're wanting to sparkle but maybe not wanting to mess with glitter, you can sparkle with this palette. And it's definitely a palette that if I do anything for New Year's Eve this year, which probably not, but if I did, this is the palette I would reach for. Alright, so that is the eyeshadow palette wardrobe tag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too loud down there. You got one of mommy's hairs. So yeah, that is going to do it. If you have a channel and haven't done this tag yet, I would love to see you do it. I think it'd be fun to see this tag go around. I always like eyeshadow palette tags, so I'm always down to do them. And let me know if there are any other eyeshadow palette type makeup tags that I haven't done. I would love to hear and maybe do them. Oh, are you finally ready for a nap? But yeah, if there are any other makeup tags out there that you would like to see me do, specifically ones around eyeshadow palettes, I always enjoy that. But let me know that down below in the comments, as I always like to see new tags to do, and I feel like I'm always missing them. I feel like in the past month or two, there's been so many people and like friends of mine here on YouTube that have done tags, and I'm just like, my tag list is forever growing. So feel free to let me know that down below in the comments if there's one that you would like to see me do. But yeah, with all that said, I guess I'm gonna go snuggle this little guy. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up on your way out, as it helps me in the whole YouTube algorithm. And if you want to continue getting daily content from me, if you want to see this little guy every now and then on my stories, I'm on Instagram, I'm LadyKatie92, and I upload there about every day. And yeah, with all that said, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Say bye!